Welcome to the Raisina Ideas Pod. This session is about women in leadership in the fourth industrial revolution. Delighted to have here with me Lou Papazian, Chief Executive Officer of the Simonian Educational Foundation in Armenia, and Hoda Khzaimi, who is the Director of Emerging Technologies at NYU in the UAE. My name is Priya Shah, and I represent Theia Ventures, a climate tech venture fund based in India. So I'm very excited to have you both here today. Lou, I wanted to start with you. Our topic for today is about gender equality in education and technology blended with that education. So curious to know your thoughts because I know that your center works with ages 12 to 18 students after school programs in Armenia, preparing them for employment and university and other vocational studies. How do you see the sort of shift, in your country with looking at how technology can uplift and empower women particularly? And sort of address that gender imbalance as this new generation goes into the workforce?
Yes, I had the privilege to move to Armenia 18 years ago and be part of this project, and I am one of the founders. And I had a lot of liberty to build everything as I wish. And, you have to think about women early on. You cannot think about them later on at some point when it's almost impossible to go back. When you start very early, and which is our case, from 12 to 18, and you mix them and you give them with a lot of opportunities, the same opportunities as men, and you make them feel comfortable and blend and not be afraid of technologies, you're opening a huge opportunity for them. And this is what we do in Armenia and in all our centers overseas. So we have a huge number of women, almost 47 to 48% are women. They come early age, and this has been my surprise. Like Armenian families trusted us to send their children, and especially girls, to the center. So what the center does is give them an opportunity after a small orientation, open up to 14 skill areas that range from technology to design, from graphic design to coding to robotics to animation to game development. And the person has the opportunity to choose and pick and build their own learning plan. And the special thing that we also do is a lot of self-learning and alone time, so that this builds the self-confidence. And once you are ready, you go to workshops, and workshops are groups of 16 students, always mixed, men and women, or boys and girls. And you grow with this, like you start from beginner to intermediate to advanced workshops. Mm-hmm. And we also invite around 170 professionals from overseas in different areas to come and teach for specific programs. And in those also, we encourage a lot of girls to enter without making them feel really that they should, but we try to balance as much as we can. And it has been, I don't know, my maybe philosophy. As a woman, I come from a family of boys, mm-hmm. from Lebanon, my background. And I was always like left behind because I was a woman. And since early age, I decided that I will do engineering because I can do it. I will go to everything that is tougher because I want to prove that I can do it. Mm-hmm. And in our center, we give them the opportunity to do exactly the same thing without feeling them that they're competing. So we don't organize competitions. We never do things only for women because we don't want them to feel like they're a different species or we feel bad about them. In the contrary, we put them all together in the same boat. Mm-hmm. And this has been giving amazing results, amazing. Students that had never thought that they can go into game development, that they can go into coding, that they go into really the tough areas, are more and more making presence there. And parents are always telling us that, asking us, what have you done? Like our daughter or our children are so taking initiatives, are so self-confident, are
confident, yeah.
so sure of what they want to do in the future. And of course, this is also helping a huge number of students going into higher education, deciding about their future and about the role they want to play. And that self-confidence, that knowing what they want to do, that balanced look into the future, and especially we try not to teach them specific skills, but to have them ready for the future,
right.
for anything that can happen.
Yeah.
Be very creative, be very prepared, not be afraid of embarking in a journey that is difficult.
That is unpredictable.
Yeah.
No, thank you so
That
much.
this is what I do,
Right,
and it has
right.
been a huge pleasure and satisfaction.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was very inspiring to hear about the transformational impact you're having on young girls at this early age. So, Hoda, I would like to come to you now to understand a little bit of the broader picture around STEM education and technology at the more higher education, so advanced level, and some of the initiatives that you're looking at in terms of artificial intelligence and helping to work on the gender gap at this level as well. Maybe you could sort of give us some comments on this.
Great question. And towards what Mary Lou just said here, I want to capitalize on the fact that when supporting women education and why we are focusing primarily on STEAM, and I don't want to say STEM, but STEAM, we need to implement arts in there as well, is that we are trying to preserve creativity and curiosity within the individual so they can pivot in every direction of new futuristic jobs that come into the new climate and a new economy, right? And our pathways to do this is to endorse STEAM education and to endorse diverse education and to endorse as well long term or long living or education. It's very important for us today to make sure that we do that, because when we look at the numbers, especially after COVID, we know that there has been around 1.4 billion of students who were put outside of school system in 190 countries. And we don't know the percentage of women that came out of that today. And it is catastrophic to see this huge numbers of people having lack of access to education in a world that we know that 2/3 of the total population of illiterate people goes to women. So around the total population is around 796 millions, and 2/3 of that are women. And at the moment, we need to implement an institutional framework that support indigenous support for women across board in education. And not to have it, as Marilou said, as an afterthought, but as something that's within the DNA and design of educational system. It should be within, I would say, the human and constitutional rights of women, which is at the same time, it is part of their rights. But we don't have the mechanism to support this kind of systematic, endorsement of it across board. And amongst the other statistics that we should be as well aware of, that as much as we are endorsing women education, I mean, like in STEM, we are as well endorsing GDP and economic growth in countries by 3% 2050 and around 12 trillion USD dollars capitalization by 2025. So there are actually economic benefits that has been proven, and the world is simulating at the moment for educating every woman and every girl across board. How can we make sure that it is quality, high-end, high-skill support for education, and it's not actually a support for only infrastructural primary educational units? This is what we are doing across board for all of our initiatives that we are building. So we have supported in the past And at the moment, providing free platforms of technology for women to educate themselves on AI, on machine learning, on a digital platform and digital literacy, thanks to the support of the wider technology providers and technology developers across board. We have been really supported by, I would say, the global south, companies coming from Pakistan and India, and as well from China that supported building platforms that are indigenous to the languages of the people across board, that would teach women Python and AI and other language and other digital kind of coding platforms to enable them to know more about AI, even if they don't have the technological background of it. And this support transferability of skills for them, especially in a current economy where we are trying to push everybody to embrace the jobs of the fourth industrial revolution. And we as well have been supported by leadership across board and specific governments in the Middle East, where they have supported injection of women into a financial analytics program because they saw the importance of onboarding women and microfinance system, economic system, and as well fourth industrial revolution integration. So working both ways on the infrastructure and the high-end possibilities of education is very important. But at the same time, we need to be mindful and committed towards holding accountability for endorsing women research, education, injection, and leadership programs across board. And that's what we're trying to support, I think, at the moment. We're not just building cybersecurity programs or AI programs or robotics programs towards what Marilou just touched upon. It was very important for us to endorse the collective teamwork for women, but as well build this kind of systematic support at a leadership position and make sure that we hold people who are not endorsing the programs accountable. Because if we don't do that, we cannot afford the dropout rates. We cannot afford the people we leave behind, the women we leave behind, the children we leave behind from these programs. And the lack of accessibility as well to high and advanced research platforms. We have seen in the past that we come from a region in the global south that have a higher percentage of participation of women in STEM. It's around 70, 60% in countries like India, like the UAE. But when you get to see the current effect of the pandemic on this percentage, you feel a little bit worried because that doesn't translate to the number of people in high-skilled jobs in PhD programs, for example, or in programs that support research. Because the support of women and endorsement of women across board on these programs is very slim and low. So we're trying to make sure, again, it's not just about having a generic D&I kind of function or someone who's going to be diversity and inclusivity officer within lead academic research institution or lead industrial research institution, but actually making sure that the quota counts, number one, and the leadership endorsement counts. Because we can't, in 2023, just rely on mentorship.
Got it.
Because mentorship is great, but it's also advocate for passive action of support of women education and women injection across board on a STEAM and high-level scientific programs. We need leadership championship for these programs, which means we need their active involvement and making sure that they are removing the barriers that would exist in these ecosystems. Because if we don't have that, we will not move forward in the best paces that we are aspiring to.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hoda. That was a very interesting take on the holistic approach to technology education, leadership, and active versus passive, involvement from the sort of larger endorsement institutional frameworks. So thank you to both of you for your time and the fascinating points that you've made, and looking forward to learning more from you over the next coming months and at the next dialogue. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.